Hi folks, today we're going to talk about non-toxic cookware. It's a subject that we get a lot of questions about, and we can kind of sum it up fairly quickly. Essentially, we have our doubts about just about anything that is called non-stick. In fact, I kind of tend to say if it's non-stick, it's toxic. If it's not toxic, it's not non-stick. There are ones who claim we have a non-toxic non-stick, and then the stuff actually sticks. Okay, that's why I buy it if it isn't non-stick. I'm a fan of cast iron. I'm a fan of stainless steel. I'm a fan of carbon steel. I'm a fan of glass. Which is harder and harder to find. They used to make a lot of it back in the 70s, and you can still find it sometimes at yard sales, but there are some good glass options. Those are sort of the four basic types of cookware, unless you're talking about going up to, say, a Dutch oven kind of thing, which would be an enameled, but that still is a cast iron. It just has an enamel over it. There has been some questions about the enamel coating on some cookware. On the higher quality cookwares, this should not be a problem. We've even conducted our own testing for people think that, there might be lead in there. And certainly enamel coatings and finishes can have lead, but the people doing cookware, they would kind of know that's a no-no. We've tested for lead and not found any. But we have not tested every brand, but we've tested our own stuff. Cast iron obviously is cast iron. The fear that some people have is, am I getting too much iron? Stainless steel, am I getting too much nickel? Because nickel is what they put in steel in order to turn it into stainless steel. There is such thing as too much nickel. There is such a thing as too much iron. Then you have carbon steel, and that doesn't have either of those things in it. It's just steel. And glass is, glass is what it is. It's just glass. There's nothing terribly toxic about that. So in terms of nickel and iron, I switch off pans all the time so that I'm not getting any one big dose of one. Also, I tend to try not to scrape the pans real hard. Stainless steel, you certainly don't want to do that. You'll ruin the pan. But the bottom line is, if you buy any of those four choices, you're staying away from all the other stuff. I know there's a lot of companies saying we have a non-toxic and we have a reformulated, and every one of those I look into and research tends to be maybe, but it doesn't. I'm not quite convinced. I'm not feeling real safe about it. And since I have great pans that I've figured out how to work with, one thing with cast iron and carbon steel is I never wash them with soap. I wash them with hot water, and I use a scouring pad or a sponge or something, whatever's needed to get out of there, and I dry them so they don't rust and that kind of thing. There's a little bit more work to them, but I think it's worth it in terms of not picking up a bunch of toxins in your food. So that answers the question. Again, any questions, comments you have about that, feel free to let me know. I'd love to look into it. I love to hear your opinions. I learn from you guys every day. Thanks.